Hello, everyone. We're so excited to be with you. I'm Coach Winona of Indigo Koi Wellness, and this is Shannon, as you know, Shannon Huffman of Shannon Wellness. And today we are highlighting diabetes because it is Diabetes Month, both awareness and prevention. Diabetes is incredibly prevalent in the United States in particular. 37.3 million people have been diagnosed with diabetes. That's over 11% of the population of this country. Undiagnosed, undiagnosed conditions affect 8.5 million people. That's a good number of people who are unwell with this silent killer. What is diabetes? Diabetes refers to a group of diseases that affect our body's use of blood sugar, or also referred to as glucose. And glucose is vital to our health because it's our energy source for our cells, the cells that make up our muscles, our tissues, and our brain's main fuel. So, what contributes to diabetes? So many things contribute to diabetes. Smoking, for instance, obesity, physical inactivity, high blood pressure, cholesterol, just to name a few. These are things that we actually have more control over in our personal environments than we give ourselves credit for. One of the areas is our food choices. And it's no surprise that that would be the case because there's a direct correlation with obesity to diabetes. 89.8% of those diagnosed with diabetes are also overweight or obese. That's a staggering number. You can see the direct link to the two. So why in this country is that something to take note of, specifically in North America?
I would say our food environment in the States is toxic. If you go to your regular supermarket, you'll see the whole pretty much center of the supermarket is highly processed food, and much of it is what qualifies as ultra processed food. So 60% of the American diet is ultra processed food, primarily made from white flour, sugar, high fructose corn syrup, highly refined vegetable oils, and a slew of additives and chemicals. So that is ultra processed food. It's low in nutrients, it's high in calories, and every single one of those ingredients that I just listed is associated with insulin resistance, and insulin resistance correlates with type 2 diabetes. So that center of the grocery store has a lot of really problematic foods in it, as well as our vending machines. I mean, we see vending machines everywhere, and places like fast food and the mall with I don't want to pick on any one particular business, but a couple things, Cinnabon and Starbucks and all kind of things, come to mind, that these foods are everywhere. And so we think that that's a normal food environment because we're used to it. And we're also used to seeing little packets, pretty little packets of artificial sweetener on the tables in our restaurants. Artificial sweetener is not normal, and it's not food. And that's been mentioned before, but if you learn anything today, just ditch the artificial sweeteners. They're horrible, horrible for you. So anyways, these things have all come to seem normal to us. Fruit roll-ups seem like a normal snack for children. Goldfish crackers, we see these things everywhere. And so they seem normal to us. So I had the wonderful opportunity, I was so fortunate to get to study abroad in France when I was in college. So this was 1991, quite a few years ago. And the food environment in France is just completely different from the one I've just described. The restaurants look different. There were no vending machines at that time, could have changed. And the grocery store looks completely different. So the grocery store that I went to was primarily composed of ingredients, very little things that were pre-made. So you pretty much had to buy the ingredients and prepare the foods yourself. I just distinctly remember that the only kind of salt available was sea salt, which is just so interesting because that's considered a gourmet food or a health food. It was just a very different environment. And I just want you to picture, if you were trying to hunt and gather and live off of the land, there are no bushes with Cheetos growing on them. There are no soda, streams. There are no, crackers with, and beef jerky and all of these things. So it bears, thinking about what's in our food and what are all these strange additives. Refined industrial oils, we couldn't even make those until about 100 years ago because we didn't have the technology. So we're eating foods that humans have never eaten in the history of the world, and it's affecting our health, but it appears to be affecting our genetic expression, our DNA expression, what's called epigenetics. So it's very, very interesting to think about. I guess my take home point would be eat more foods with less packaging that are whole foods, more natural kind of foods, and less foods in that center of the grocery store.
What are some recommendations for helping to deal with diabetes if you have it, and even prevent it, more importantly, if you don't? Keep you from going down that road. So definitely having a plant-strong diet is vital. Our bodies need those very specific nutrients to do the job it was designed to do. In addition, avoiding the processed foods and the sugars and such, as Shannon outlined, getting the proper sleep that we need. Disrupted sleep has been also directly linked to hypertension, heart attack, and type 2 diabetes. It aids in obesity, and it's also indicated in depression. So definitely getting 6 to 8 hours of quality sleep, if at all possible. If at all possible, we'll make it a goal. That's what we're asking. Our bodies were not made to be sedentary, to just sit and be inactive. So moving, if we can get 30 quality minutes a day in of movement, that's great. But if you can't, how about a 10-minute walk after lunch, or first thing in the morning with the pet, or in the evening, a stroll? It would be wonderful. Avoiding smoking. We know all the red flags with smoking, so I won't go into it, but smoking is very detrimental as well. We want to moderate our alcohol intake. When we're thirsty, our bodies are craving water, not juice, not soda, not more coffee, not more tea, but water. So please try to intake at least, optimum would be half your body weight in ounces. If that is not possible, if you're not drinking water, try with 1 glass. A little spritz of lemon or orange, a little citrus will help it go down easier and help you start to enjoy the flavor and build on that. 1 with breakfast, a glass with lunch, a glass with dinner. That's a good amount of water to begin with. And just start building on that. Your body will thank you. Your skin will thank you even.
Your kidneys will thank you.
And your kidneys will thank you, definitely. Reducing the processed foods and snacks and sweets, as we spoke about. Those of you who are under medical care, you're already monitoring your A1C. Those of you who have an aversion to doctors, if you're exhibiting any of these symptoms that we spoke about health-wise, then please seek out medical care and monitor your labs. The A1C test specifically monitors the amount of sugar attached to your cells. It's important to know that number because the higher the number, the greater your risk. Identifying food triggers is really important. There are things that can cause us to just randomly eat. What are those things? So possibly keeping a food journal would be incredibly helpful so that you can identify and anticipate a potential trigger and already have a plan in place of how you will deal with such. You're away from home, eating well. It's easy when you're making your meals at home to eat well. Maybe not so easy when you're out and about. And again, we're going into a season of eating. And of course, taking off extra pounds is really important because we know the obesity spirals into diabetes.
Stress management definitely comes into all of what you said with the getting good night's sleep and the awareness and the journaling. You know, there's definitely a stress management piece to all of it. So it's a process. It's a process of learning and, you know, just awareness. Yeah.
It is.
I really wanted to also, I wanted to bring up one more point, which was about the food manufacturers and the chemical MSG. So the food manufacturers don't care if you get diabetes and they don't care about your health. They really care about selling their products and making a profit. So there are food scientists in all the big food companies that sell that food that's in the middle of your grocery store. And the food scientists are specifically trying to make the food more addictive. They're finding the combination that will tantalize people's taste buds and make them want to overeat. And MSG is one of the ingredients that does that. But they're looking for the textures and the tastes and the flavors that will be, you know, specifically enticing. So MSG, maybe we can link this down below, but MSG goes by many names, but I would really recommend, you know, looking at your ingredients and avoiding foods with MSG. And it's really in a lot of savory foods. And right. And unfortunately, just because you bought it at Whole Foods or Trader Joe's or Sprouts doesn't mean it's healthy.
Amen.
Sorry.
Nope, that is absolute truth. There's healthy food and there's processed food, even in those aisles. So having the knowledge, reading the labels, doing your homework is the only way that you will make the best choices for yourself.
One specific help that we have for prediabetes and diabetes is a product called Biomedic. And Biomedic is a gut health supplement that has a lot of benefits, but it was shown in clinical trials to reduce C-reactive protein by 75%, CRP levels, and that's the medical marker for inflammation in your body. So in 6 weeks, it reduced inflammation in the clinical trials in people by 75%, which is really impressive. So that is a really good help for dealing with blood sugar and also healing the gut and getting your health going in a better direction.
It is, and it's been amazing to see so many satisfied clients, to really see it in action and to experience it for ourselves. So we highly, highly encourage you to take a look at the link that we'll put below to learn more about it.
And we've seen a lot of people with prediabetes and diabetes whose numbers have improved drastically and quickly, which is very exciting.
Exactly. Yeah. There's a direct correlation to the C-reactive protein levels being reduced, corresponds to the A1C levels being reduced, the reduction in that. So releasing that inflammation is key. to turning around the effects of these conditions on the body and giving your body the tools to do the job it was designed to do. Both Shannon and I are always available to answer any questions that you may have. I'm at _wellness on Instagram and Facebook, and Shannon is at Shannon Wellness 89 on Instagram and Facebook as well. So we look forward to
And
hearing
it's
from you.
actually Shannon Hoffman if you want to search me on Facebook.